everyone. Thanks for joining. We're excited about the webinar today with customizing here base map styles with the Here Style Editor. I'm your host today, Mohini, and I'm excited to have you all here to learn about how to create your unique map styles with Here. So before we dive into the map designs, let's take a look at what we're going to talk about today. We'll start with the introduction of today's session and the presenters. Next, we'll talk about what the Here Style Editor is, and we'll explore the features and the use cases. Then we'll talk about how to seamlessly integrate your custom map styles into the web applications with Here Maps API for JavaScript. And lastly, we'll address your questions during a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar. Moving on to introductions. So first, we have Trixie, who's our Senior Cartography Design Manager. She's been working on the Here Style Editor. She has background in cartography and geography, and she's been at Here since 2006. Next, we have Nicole. He is currently responsible as the head of product management for the Web SDK. That's the Maps API for JavaScript, Here Style Editor, and he's also responsible for location services, map rendering, data formats. He has a background in geography as well, and then he's been at Here since 2007. And I'm Mohini Todkari. I'm a senior developer evangelist at Here. My background is in GIS and computer science. I've been at Here for nearly 2 years now, and I'm helping developer community build better solutions with Here APIs and data. So without further ado, let's start with our first speaker, Trixie. Trixie, please kick off the things with the Here Style Editor.
Yeah, so maybe a few more words to my person. So I said, like my background is in the cartography, geography. I am leading the cartography design team since quite some years now. So which is the team that is actually designing the base map. So the base for your customization. And 1 year ago, I also took over the Here Style Editor team. So the team that is developing the tool for the map customization. And yeah, I'm passionate for cartography, and it feels really nice to have these two teams together and working on these products. So yeah, what is a Here Style Editor? So it's a web-based tool that allows you customizing our base map for your needs and for all our products. So for the Here Maps API for JavaScript, for the Here SDK and the flavors Explore and Navigate, and also for the Here Navigation. So why would you like to modify our base map or start customization? So the main use cases is, of course, the brand reflection. So imagine you're building applications with your own UI and UX components. Then, of course, you may also want to adjust the maps towards it. Then it may also be that you have specific devices, or you'll be working with embedded systems where you have certain display resolutions or certain contrast issues which you want to design the map against. Then another use case may be data overlays that you, traffic is one example, but could also be any other data that you want to put on top, and you maybe want to adjust the base map towards it. And then, of course, making relevant things prominent. So whatever your use case is, you may want to promote certain map objects or depromote others. So these are really the main use cases for the Style Editor. Here are also some links, how to access the tool itself, and then also to the documentation and an introduction blog post where all the basics are described. Here are also some customer examples. So these are map styles that our customers have created for their use cases. So some are in-car navigation, just some examples for those. You access the tool from the platform portal. So this is like your landing screen whenever you log in on the platform, and then there is here the launcher, and you will find here the Here Style Editor. And yeah, if you click on this, the tool will open, and it will actually open like this. So you're being asked to either open an existing map style or create a new one, which you can already name. And you will find here the style selector menu, how we call it. So this is split up regarding the use cases. So you see at the moment we are in the Explore use case. So it means like this is our default base map for the whole comprehensive map exploration and customization. So there we offer 4 different schemes, a day, a night, and a hybrid day and hybrid night. Also for hybrid, there is just a difference in the sky. So the map itself is the same for day and for night, but if you would tilt the map, the sky and the horizon would look then according to day and nighttime. And we also have another use case here, which is light. That's more visually reduced scheme set, where the focus is more like it's designed for data overlays. So you see that all roads have the same color. Everything is a bit muted. We use a reduced color palette. So this could also be a nice start for if you're more interested in a more dimmed scheme as a start. But then let's go back to the Explorer. And if you then start with this, you will see that we have quite some different panels. Enlarge this a bit. But before going into all the elements, let's have a look at the whole UI component. So you use like the usual file drop-down menu where you can create a new one, a new style, open existing one, save, duplicate in case you want to work on top of your current style, just try out something else, or export. I will come back to the difference between save and export a bit later. The edit is just really like you can undo, redo your changes, same as here, and revert to the base you started with, to the original. I highly recommend to use here the help button where you have the link to the documentation. So everything that I will show you today here is also part of the documentation. So I really can just recommend it's very lightweight. It's nicely structured. So whenever you are struggling with something, go there and you will find everything described, how things are working, how to use it. Just takes, I think, half an hour to read through the whole documentation, and you have a pretty good understanding of the tool. What also has been offered within the help is a quick tour. That's also always has the links to the documentation, but it shows you already like what are the different panels here, how to use them, layers and attributes, styles, how to find your latest styles you were working on, and save and exporting again. Yeah? And if questions, just use the link to the documentation. So what else do we have? We have here search, where you can just really search for locations. If you want to check how your map is looking like in different locations. You can also use bookmarks. So there's a preset with the largest cities. You can easily jump from one location to the other to verify your designs across the world. But you can also add your custom bookmarks. And if you're, for instance, working with someone else, you can, of course, also import and export them for sharing. Then we have the zoom level bar. I think that's pretty straightforward. This one here, the compass for rotating the map. Go back. So this is with a right click, you can tilt the map, rotate the map. Tilting is here, also available. Yeah, so these are the UI components. Here under the settings, you will find the coordinates you're just looking at. You can change the language to the ones that are supported. And you can also take screenshots as background for further design concepts, for instance. And then here is another nice little feature, the data properties, which is applicable for the vector tile service. So whenever you click on some element on the map, with the left click, and then you choose an object, you will see here what's behind in the data. It's a bit more advanced, but maybe some of you want to try that out. So then let's go to the panels. As said, we have 3 panels. We have layers, attributes, and we have modifiers. So the tool is starting with the modifiers panel only. And this is in the end, the modifiers are behaving a bit like a filter. So you apply things that you do here on top of the base map. This is designed for, for the ones of you who have a bit more expertise in cartography, when touching one color, you have to go through quite a lot. So you go from one piece, from one attribute to the other, and there's so many objects in the map that it can be quite comprehensive. So what this modifiers allows you is to play a bit more on top, having fast adjustments. So for instance, if we would go into the hue saturation, and we would just reduce the saturation of the map, this would then apply, and it would be very fast adjustment without going through all the details. Same, for instance, for color tones, but then apply a different one, and then the map would be colored in that specific tone. So this is really allowing fast adjustments. The base adjustments are applying to all the elements that we have in the map, except for the icons. And then we have also here some others, which disable this again. Then we also have here different groups, which we identified are the main components that customers usually want to customize. So you could also just go to roads, and then, okay, say I want to change the fill color of all the roads, and maybe put them to red or whatever. And then this would apply for all the roads. And here we have different blend modes. Or you could also just say, I don't want to do this for the little ones, but maybe just for the larger roads. And then we have different blend modes, as you may know them from tools like Photoshop, how to blend the modifier color with the base map color. So you could play around a bit with this one and try the different effects that it's causing. Again, this is all described in the documentation, how the blending modes behave. So whenever you, and then one last thing, let me remove this again. We also have some presets. So these are modifiers, modifier presets we created that are designed according to the use case. So for instance, now if we are in Explore, you will find here some more colorful examples, which you could take as a starting point. Yeah, so you then would not have to do all the work to do these adjustments. You can choose one of the presets and say, okay, yeah, maybe this is the direction I want to go into. I start with this and then apply my other changes on top of this one. Yeah, so they are not fully designed through, but it's giving a certain direction already. And then you see here the apply button. So this means whenever you hit this one, all the modifiers that have been created here are being baked into the base map style. So they are really being applied. You don't have to do this. You can also just leave it as a modifier on top. And that's actually also the difference for saving and exporting. If you save it, all your active modifiers will stay active. So you can always go back. It's more like a project. You can always go back and then further tweak the modifiers or remove them again. If you export the map style, everything what you see, all the modifiers are being baked into the style and exported as a single JSON. Yeah, that's actually to it. Then let's jump to the layers panel. So here you see all the different objects that we have in the map, grouped in a nicely manner so that it's understandable where to find what. And then underneath each group, you will find the different classes. Yeah, so for roads, you can style the lines, you can style labels, marker icons, marker labels. So there's a clear structure. For land use, for instance, there are only polygons and labels available. For administrative places, only lines and labels and so on. And if you click on those, then again, the attributes panel will open, and it will show you all the attributes that are available for road lines, for instance, in this example. And then we can go here into the line color, and then you will already see that all the different colors that are available for lines. So there's a highway line, highway unpaved, the center line, tunnels. So it's quite a lot. And if you're already checking just this list for the line color, there's of course also the outline color. Yeah, so it can be quite a bit of work to go through all the adjustments, and there the modifiers come really into play if you can just apply a certain color filter on top of the existing ones. You see here also that currently some attributes are affected by the modifiers, so that's just a notification that what you see here is not what you see really in the map because the modifiers are active. But then let me just remove the modifiers, go back to the default map, and then yeah, let's have a look at more at the single values here. So you see that for some there is a gradient in here. We have these little dots underneath. I hope this is visible through WebEx. And if you click on this, you will see that there are certain zoom level steps. So we define different colors for different zoom levels. This is of course depending on the width of the line in combination with the outline color and outline width. If you don't want to go into this, I mean, you can add more stops. You can delete those stops if you just want to reduce the amount. You can change the zoom levels where it's applicable. So all this is pretty, you can adjust all of that. If you feel this is maybe too complex, you want to start with something more simple, you can also always go to a single value, and then it will just give you just one value, the one from the zoom level you're currently in, and you can change this one. You can also always copy a value if you want to apply the same value for another attribute and then paste it, or you can also paste it to all you want to do these changes. Let me go maybe to another example for the line width. If you look at this one here, you see that we have, of course, the line width is changing across all the zoom levels. There are quite some values defined. And if you're now, for instance, I don't know, the design for a different pixel ratio and you need the roads to be wider, you may not want to go through all these different values and play with it. This might be a bit tedious. And here again, the modifiers come into play because you could just go there, go to the width, and then make all the roads thicker. Apply a factor on top of it, and then this factor will be applied on these values here. So you see it's reloading, all roads are now wider. Can be the same, can be done for label sizes, for instance, if you feel like you want to have larger labels, you can also go there to the different label sizes and just use the modifiers, and everything will still be in balance as it's defined by us, but it just will increase. Yeah, again, if we would now hit here the apply button, let's do it, then you will see that the values have changed here. So this is now baked into the scheme. Of course, we can also always go back, and then we are back to the previous values. Yeah, let's move this one. I think, yeah, one thing, for instance, if you feel like, oh gosh, this is so many items here, how do I find it? You can always click on the map, and it will show you all the objects that are available, and then you can just go there, click it, and you're immediately in the attributes and can start playing with what you see. What we also have here is a style selector dropdown. So it's automatically, all your styles are automatically being cached in the browser. And so this shows you actually the history. So you will also see that there's a color indication, giving a bit of like a preview of the colors you've used for the style. Yeah, it shows you when last modified and so on, and which base map style. So it's a nicer orientation to quickly go back to your styles and understand what you have done. What's currently not supported, but what can be supported by professional services is exchanging the icons, for instance. This is not supported by the tool yet, but can be done definitely. Same applies for fonts, for instance. So we're working on this. What will come next? We will support more features, more styles. So as said, like at the moment we have Explore and Glide. There's going to come a logistics scheme, which has a focus on truck relevant content. So there we highlight, for instance, certain truck POIs that are not part of the default map, certain areas that are of interest for trucks. So that's coming in the pipeline. And then we will also add an intersection map. So it's a very, very reduced scheme where in the end only the roads are visible. So this is used for targeted to be used for the mini maps. For instance, if you have a maneuver preview, or if you want to create a head-up display, this could also be a base for customization. Yeah, and then we also, with the next release, will offer a color blindness support so that you can switch between or simulate between different color blindness modes to really make sure that your styles are also working towards against those. Yeah, that's I think the main part from my side, and I would with this give it back to Mohini.
Thanks, Trixie. This was amazing. You showed so many features in just a short time, and it's so easy to use. The best part for me was clicking on each of these things on the map and being able to just update it from right there. I think that's super helpful. So you're not drilling into the list, but just changing the aspects that you need. So I love that feature. So we do have some questions from our attendees. The first one is, can I use the styles exported in JSON in the style editor in a React application?
In a React application.
Let me maybe take this one, Trixie, here, because it's somehow connected to Maps API for JavaScript, which I'm going to introduce a little bit further in our webinar. So
Okay.
the connection is you would design your own style with the style editor. You would connect it to Maps API for JavaScript as a library which you can use to build browser-based applications. And with this library, you can also connect it to React applications and React components. So this is basically the flow, how it works. And so the answer to this question is yes, it's possible to connect it together with the JavaScript API.
We look forward for your presentation next, Nicole. Thank you. We have one more question. Let's get to that and then we'll move over. Are there tutorials for ingesting exported styles and other products and for custom mobile apps, for example?
There's definitely the SDK documentation where this is also being described, how to use the exported styles.
Okay.
Maybe this is the perfect segue over to my part,
Yes.
where I will show you how you can basically integrate the exported style into one of the products. And what I'm going to do is I will present this possibility for here Maps API for JavaScript. As you recall from what Trixie has introduced you earlier, we are supporting 3 different products. We are supporting here Maps API for JavaScript. We are supporting Here SDK in its Explore and Navigate flavor, and we are supporting Here Navigation. So all of these three products can be used together with the functionality of the style editor to embed your customized style. And this is what I'm going to show you, how this will work in a live demo. Before that, I like to briefly give you an idea of what is Maps API for JavaScript at all, and how is this basically set up in the Here ecosystem. So looking at this slide is basically explaining how the different components are playing together. So we have two SDKs. As mentioned, both of them are supported from the Here style editor. We have the Here SDK, the native Here SDK, which you can use to build native applications with Android, with iOS, with Flutter. And on the other side, we have the Web SDK with Maps API for JavaScript to build mainly browser-based applications. And both of these SDKs are connected to our Here dataset, what we are calling real-world index. And on top of these data, we have a list of services which are, in this case, connected to Maps API for JavaScript. We have, on the one hand, geocoding and search. We have the Transit API. We have routing connected. We have real-time traffic connected, which in this case represents traffic flow and traffic incidents. But we have also a connection to a Geos database where you can store your personal information and load it from there, and again display on the map. And obviously we have the map rendering services, which is basically utilized to display in the end the map which you have customized. This is the landscape of the two SDKs together with the location services. And apart from the integration of the Here location services into Maps API for JavaScript, we have two additional main functionalities Maps API for JavaScript is offering. One of them is about the visualization. So you can use custom data to display them on top of the Here base map, and think about visualizations, for instance, for Coyoplate maps. Think about visualizations for clustered maps where things are being aggregated together so that you can see the more portions of the map. Think about bubble maps, or think about any kind of animation. So this is all possible with the visualization capabilities of Maps API for JavaScript. The third element, which is also supported, is all about map editing capabilities, where the map and the event system is being used to modify, for instance, the geometry of your custom data or the attribute set of your custom data. And this could all be stored then back into, for instance, this cloud database, which I've mentioned earlier, where your data are hosted then in a private manner and can be used on top of the JavaScript or on top of the Here map with the help of the JavaScript API. So this is three main functionalities of the JavaScript API: integration of the location services, visualization capabilities, and map editing. And now move on to the aspect of customizing the Here-based map style according to your need. And for that, I'm in my browser simulation. And let's first look at the map, which you have already seen on Trixie's site. So this is one of our base map styles. As Trixie has mentioned, it's the so-called Explore Day style, which is one of our styles which we are maintaining from a Here perspective. But as we have seen, there are many reasons why you would design the style specifically for your use case. And then let me move over to the tool, as Trixie has done this as well. I'm starting off with providing a name for my style, which I'm going to design, and think about a use case, me being a fleet management operator. And I want to just highlight two things in the map. So I'm loading this page here, like Trixie has done it as well. I will use the modifier panels, and I will adjust, for instance, now the highways to a prominent red color, because this is, I like to see the streets more prominently, because this is the streets where most of my trucks will be running on. So I have changed the color to red, so they are sticking out. And the next thing which I also like to modify is I like to modify the urban areas as the target area where my trucks are mostly running to. And I like to also see them pretty prominent on the map, and therefore I'm giving it a shiny green color, so they are also sticking out in the map, and that's about it. As you have seen in the presentation from Trixie, I could do much more, but for the sake of you, of me demonstrating how you connect it, I'm satisfied with my map style, and I'm going to export it to my local system, which has happened. You can see it's stored. So I'm opening up this location, and you can see this is the style which I have just exported, comparing the date it's just now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this style then into the folder where I have stored my project setup, where my fleet management application is sitting, and I'm copying over this file. I have one with the same name there already, so I'm overwriting it. And then what we need to do next is, this is a pretty short script which is displaying the map which I have shown to you earlier. And there is so the possibility to instantiate the map. We're setting the default location where we are starting with, and then we are enabling the event listener to be able to react on mouse moves and so on. And this is basically the map I like to customize. And there are 3 lines which are of relevance, and I'm going to activate these lines. And this is the line for loading the style which I have just developed. So it's called mystyle.json, what you have seen in the style editor application. And I'm going to use this layer, my vector layer, with my customized style now, storing this one, and I'm going back to this page here, and I'm reloading it. And what you can see is the exact same map which I have developed in Style Editor, now running together with the JavaScript API, and displaying the map how I want to have it. So this is pretty simple, pretty easy. You will be guided also on that front from a huge list of examples which we have on the developer portal, where getting a quick introduction into how you can use the JavaScript API. And one of the tutorials which we have is also picking up what I have just shown to you, how to export or how to use the style exported from Style Editor into Maps API for JavaScript. That's it for my part. I'm happy to take any question and giving it back to Mohini.
Thanks, Nicole. This was so easy to just add 3 lines or 2 lines to the code and then implement the style that was so easily created. So I love that. We do have a few questions. The first one is, is there a way to customize the color of truck restriction roads using editor?
Not yet.
Okay.
It's on our roadmap, and will come with one of the next versions of the Style Editor. But yes, it will be possible, but not yet.
All right, we'll be on the lookout for that. The next one is it possible to remove the planes silhouettes from an airport in Here Maps using Style Editor?
What exactly? The planes silhouettes?
Yes, that is the question. So on the airports, do we have planes, like an image of planes or an icon of planes?
The icon.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the moment you could you cannot touch all the different icon categories individually, but you could, for instance, give the public transit icons, which the airport belongs to, a size of 0, and then they will not show up.
Okay.
That's
So
the current-
that would mean all the public transit icons will not show up, or only the airport? Everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. The next question, Nicole, if I could ask you to move to the next slide.
Oh.
Thank you. So here we have some resources for Style Editor that you guys can check out. And then we have a Slack channel for the developer community, for everyone who has questions. So after the session, you guys can post your questions there, and we'd be happy to answer those and continue the conversations there as well. Moving on to the next questions that have come in. And if you still have more questions, please send them in, and we are happy to answer as much as we can. The next one is, are these changes applied to the entire map, or is it only for multiple selected areas?
Whatever changes you do, so you're always working on a global map style. So there are no country code specific coloring or something like this. So if you change the color of a highway, it will be changed or applied globally.
Okay. And how can the Style Editor changes be integrated with the Here SDK?
Yeah, as I said already earlier, so there's in the SDK documentation, this has been described very well, as well as in a way as Nicole just demoed. So this is all documented in the documentation.
Okay. So the next question is, how much does it cost to use the Style Editor?
It's for free, actually. So you just need a platform account, which is for free, and then you can just start using it and play around with it. So this is not attached to any fee yet.
Okay. All right. Are there any more questions? We do have some questions on Slido, so if you guys are able to answer that, if not already. The current question that we have is, what new feature would you like with the Style Editor? So if you have anything that in your current workflows that you need to do, please send it here, and that would be considered for the future releases. All right. So that is all we have for today. Any last words, Nicole or Trixie?
Thank you so much for participating on this webinar. And as Mohini has mentioned, if you have any features which you want to see represented in the Style Editor, please type them into the Slido channel and let us know, or reach out via our support channels, and then we are happy to incorporate them into the Style Editor offering. Thank you so much for attending.
Oh, this is just the same for my side. I'm also always curious on the feedback from our customers when it comes to features, but also regarding usability of the tool. They are happy to get any feedback on it.
So, all right. Thanks everyone for attending, and very helpful that I was able to learn all these things with Nicole and Trixie. Thank you.